Hello and welcome back to Everything Boats with Captain Frank Lanier, where we discuss boats and boating, from maintenance and repairs to seamanship and safety, as well as everything in between. This podcast is a companion to my YouTube channel of the same name, so if you like and find it useful, be sure to subscribe and please check out my YouTube channel as well, where you'll find hundreds of informative videos on pretty much every boating topic imaginable. Today's podcast: How to Inspect Your Boat's Electrical Systems, Part 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Naughty with Captain Frank. So today's topic is going to be how to inspect your boat's electrical systems. And by electrical systems, I mean both AC and DC power. I see a lot of problems with AC and DC electrical systems while surveying boats, and thought it would be a good topic to bring to the channel and tell you guys how I do my surveys, what I look for and stuff, and what you can look for when you're doing your own inspections. So regular inspection of your boat's AC and DC electrical systems can head off a number of problems, from that flickering chart plotter to a 3-alarm fire, while helping to keep your hours on the water boat safer and electrically trouble-free. When's the best time to survey your boat's electrical system? Well, today, right? Whether you've owned the boat for a day or decades, what better way to spend a few hours on board than familiarizing or reacquainting yourself with some of the most important systems on board? The familiarity an electrical systems inspection provides prepares you for troubleshooting electrical problems when professional help isn't around, which it also in turn increases your self-sufficiency and confidence in your ability to solve problems that crop up while away from the dock.
Today's episode is actually the first of a 4-part series.
First episode, today we're going to be talking about DC system inspections. The second episode, we're going to be talking about AC power systems. The third episode, that's going to be inspecting circuit breakers and wire runs and installation faux pas that I often see. The fourth episode is going to be onboard charging systems. Now, these onboard charging systems that I'm talking about is going to include battery chargers, inverters, as well as solar and wind power systems. So to get things started off, we're going to start out by saying safety first, right? Although the inspections and checks that I'm going to mention in this article are geared towards the average boater, if you have any doubts about the ability to do any of these, you always want to seek the advice of a competent marine electrician, one familiar with the standards and recommendations provided by the National Fire Prevention Association, NFPA, and the American Boat and Yacht Council, which is abbreviated ABYC. To get this party started, DC system inspections, we're going to talk about battery installations. Batteries are the heart of your DC system. Section E10 of the American Boat and Yacht Council's Standards and Technical Information Reports for Small Craft covers battery installation requirements in great detail. What we're going to do today is we're going to touch on the basics here and problems I commonly see while surveying. The basic requirements are the same for each of the more common battery types: wet cell, gel cell, AGM. All the standards and stuff pretty much are going to be the same across the board for these. Now, your newer battery technology, like your lithium, they have their own unique requirements, and that's a topic for a later episode. So ABYC requires that all batteries be installed in liquid-tight, acid-proof battery boxes or trays. These battery boxes, this is the one you always see when you go to West Marine or any other Chandler, the plastic battery boxes. And you can buy them based on the size of the battery you have. So again, you can buy these commercially, but you can also make your own as long as they meet the requirements. In other words, liquid tight, acid proof. The one thing you have to make sure is if you build your own trays, make sure that the mounting hardware, the bolts and the screws or whatever you use to mount them, doesn't compromise the leak-proof quality of the containers. Another point to remember is that the battery trays or boxes, they don't have to be large enough to contain all of the electrolyte in the battery. They only have to be able to contain the spillage due to boilover, for example. Many boat owners fail to include a tray or box when installing AGM absorbed glass mat batteries. They use the logic that, the electrolyte is in suspension, it's in the fiberglass, and it can't leak out. Well, the standard still applies, as they can weep electrolyte if they overheat. But also, I have to remind them that the AGMs that they've got, installed now, these can be replaced with wet cell batteries at some point in the future, either by them or an unwitting new owner that doesn't know that, you have to have trays and stuff. Batteries are also required to be secured against movement, specifically 1 inch maximum in any direction for at least 1 minute when exposed to 90 pounds of pull or twice the weight of the battery, whichever is less, right? So just quick, easy, dirty way to remember: no more movement than 1 inch in any direction. The second thing I often see about, the problems I see with battery installations would be a battery box that is properly secured, yet the battery inside is significantly smaller than the box was designed for. This allows excessive movement of the battery inside the battery box. Section E10 also requires that positive terminals be covered to prevent accidental shorting from drop tools, for example. It's another common issue I find. You always want to cover the positive terminal with rubber or plastic, terminal caps, or the rubber boots you'll see on them, or a non-conductive shield. If a typical plastic battery box is used, the one with the lid, then the lid will satisfy this requirement. Another problem I see: lack of proper ventilation. Batteries should ideally be located in a cool, well-ventilated area. In reality, I often see them placed in some of the worst possible areas for this regard: unvented lockers, bilge spaces, and of course the hottest area of the boat, the engine compartment. Adequate ventilation is critical to remove fumes and gases generated while charging, while keeping the batteries as cool as possible. Increases their service life. You keep them cool and they're going to have a longer service life. Another requirement: battery terminal connections must provide a secure mechanical and electrical connection. Spring clips and alligator clamps, now you can't use those things. They're not permitted. And one of my personal pet peeves is the use of wing nuts. Wing nuts are notoriously difficult to torque properly, and they will invariably loosen due to vibration, boat movement, etc. So when I spot wing nuts on a battery during a survey, I always recommend that they be replaced with, stainless steel marine grade nylock nuts, a much better option. In other words, you can torque those things down and it'll keep the battery connections, from coming loose. And on the next Talking with Naughty with Captain Frank, we're going to be going over your AC power system inspections. Stay tuned.